If you're noticing blurry vision, dry eyes, eye strain, or worsening eyesight with age, I want you to listen very carefully because what you do before bed can either protect your eyes or silently damage them further. Most people think eye damage only comes from screens, aging, or genetics. But the truth is, a large part of eye degeneration happens at night while you sleep due to oxidative stress and poor circulation to the tiny blood vessels in the eyes. And there is one simple fruit that research consistently shows can help protect your eyes, improve night vision, and slow age-related eye damage when eaten before sleep. When the lights go off at night and your eyes finally close, something critical happens that most people never think about. Your vision enters its most vulnerable state. This is the moment when microscopic damage either gets repaired or silently accumulates, pushing you closer to blurry vision, night blindness, and irreversible eye degeneration. Science now confirms that the hours you spend asleep are when your eyes face the highest oxidative stress because the retina consumes more oxygen than almost any tissue in the human body. High oxygen use means more free radicals, and free radicals mean cellular damage. Over time, this damage attacks the retina, weakens the macula, and disrupts the optic nerve. And here's the shocking truth. By the time vision loss is noticeable, up to 90% of retinal damage may already be permanent. But there is one natural intervention that research shows can slow this process dramatically, especially when used at night. Blueberries. Blueberries are not just another healthy fruit. They contain one of the highest concentrations of anthocyanins ever measured in food. Anthocyanins are powerful bioactive compounds responsible for the deep blue and purple color of berries, and they have a rare ability to cross the blood-retinal barrier. Most antioxidants never reach the eyes in meaningful amounts. Anthocyanins do. Once inside eye tissue, they neutralize free radicals directly at the source of damage. Multiple studies published in ophthalmology and nutrition journals have shown that anthocyanins reduce oxidative stress in retinal cells, protecting them from light-induced damage. This matters because every day your eyes are assaulted by blue light from screens, UV radiation from the sun, and metabolic stress from aging. At night, your body attempts to repair this damage, but without the right nutrients, the repair process is incomplete. Researchers have found that anthocyanins stimulate the regeneration of rhodopsin, a light-sensitive pigment in the retina essential for night vision. As rhodopsin levels decline with age, people begin to struggle with dim lighting, glare, and slow visual adaptation in the dark. This is why night driving becomes difficult long before daytime vision fails. Blueberries help reverse this decline by accelerating rhodopsin recovery while you sleep. There's a reason this connection was discovered long before modern science. During World War II, British pilots reported improved night vision after consuming blueberry jam before missions. At the time, it sounded like folklore. Decades later, laboratory studies confirmed it was biochemistry, but the protection doesn't stop there. Anthocyanins also strengthen the tiny capillaries that deliver oxygen and nutrients to the retina. These capillaries are extremely fragile and easily damaged by high blood sugar, inflammation, and aging. Once blood flow to the retina is compromised, cells begin to starve, leading to macular degeneration and diabetic retinopathy. Studies show that blueberry compounds improve capillary integrity, reduce leakage, and enhance retinal blood circulation, especially during rest. Nighttime is when this benefit becomes critical. While you sleep, blood pressure naturally drops. If circulation to the eyes is already weak, this dip can further reduce oxygen delivery to retinal tissue. Blueberries help counteract this by improving endothelial function, allowing blood vessels to relax and deliver nutrients more efficiently, even during low-pressure states. There is also the issue of inflammation. Chronic low-grade inflammation is one of the leading drivers of age-related eye disease. Inflammatory markers damage photoreceptor cells and accelerate retinal aging. Anthocyanins have been shown to suppress inflammatory pathways, including NF-κB, which is directly linked to tissue degeneration. When blueberries are consumed in the evening, these anti-inflammatory effects remain active during the body's nighttime repair cycle, creating an environment where healing can occur instead of damage. Another overlooked factor is blood sugar. Elevated nighttime blood sugar quietly destroys the retina over years, even in people without diagnosed diabetes. High glucose levels cause glycation, a process where sugar molecules bind to proteins and damage them permanently. The retina is particularly sensitive to this process. Blueberries have a low glycemic impact and improve insulin sensitivity, helping stabilize blood sugar overnight. This reduces glycation stress on retinal cells while you sleep. What makes this truly powerful is consistency. Research shows that regular intake of anthocyanin-rich foods leads to cumulative protection. Retinal cells exposed to consistent antioxidant support show higher resistance to light damage and slower degeneration over time. This is not a one-time fix. It is a daily defense system, and the timing matters. At night, melatonin levels rise, triggering cellular repair and antioxidant recycling. Anthocyanins work synergistically with this process, amplifying the body's natural defense mechanisms. This is why eating blueberries before sleep is far more effective for eye protection than consuming them randomly during the day. This is not theory. This is physiology. Your eyes cannot regenerate like skin or muscle. Once retinal cells are lost, they rarely come back. Prevention is not optional. It is everything. A small serving of blueberries delivers protection where supplements often fail. Whole food compounds interact with enzymes, blood vessels, and cellular membranes in ways isolated pills cannot replicate. And here is the most unsettling fact of all. Most people wait for symptoms: dry eyes, blurry text, trouble seeing at night. By the time these signs appear, structural damage has already occurred, but research shows that dietary intervention years earlier can slow this trajectory dramatically. This is not about perfection. It is about one simple decision repeated consistently. When you eat blueberries before sleep, you are not just feeding your body. You are shielding the most delicate structures of your eyes at the exact moment they are fighting to survive another day of damage. Vision loss is not an overnight event. It is a slow erosion, and blueberries, backed by decades of research, give your eyes a chance to resist it quietly, naturally, and effectively while you sleep. When night falls and your body begins to slow down, your eyes enter a phase that is far more important than most people realize. This is not rest. This is recovery, and whether that recovery protects your vision or accelerates its decline depends heavily on what is circulating in your blood during those hours of sleep. Science now shows that eating blueberries before bed can dramatically influence how well your eyes repair, how efficiently blood reaches the retina, and how long your vision stays sharp as you age. The retina is one of the most blood-hungry tissues in the human body. Gram for gram, it consumes more oxygen than the brain. That means it is completely dependent on precise, uninterrupted circulation. Even slight reductions in blood flow can deprive retinal cells of oxygen and nutrients, triggering gradual cell death that goes unnoticed for years. This is why eye diseases often progress silently, without pain, until vision suddenly fails. At night, this risk increases. During sleep, blood pressure naturally drops. This is normal and healthy, but it also means less force pushing blood through tiny retinal capillaries. In people over 40, or in those with inflammation, stiff arteries, or blood sugar instability, this nighttime drop can significantly reduce retinal perfusion. Over time, this contributes to macular degeneration, optic nerve damage, and worsening night vision. This is where blueberries change the equation. Blueberries are rich in anthocyanins, compounds shown in vascular research to improve endothelial function. The endothelium is the inner lining of blood vessels, and its ability to relax determines how well blood flows. Anthocyanins stimulate nitric oxide production, a molecule that allows blood vessels to widen naturally. Wider vessels mean better circulation, even when blood pressure is lower, such as during sleep. Studies published in cardiovascular and ophthalmologic journals show that anthocyanins improve microcirculation, specifically in small, delicate vessels like those found in the retina. These are the vessels most vulnerable to aging and oxidative stress. By improving their flexibility and strength, blueberries help ensure that oxygen continues reaching retinal cells throughout the night. But circulation is only part of the story. Nighttime is when your eyes attempt to reverse the damage accumulated during the day. Exposure to blue light, glare, UV radiation, and constant focusing creates metabolic waste inside retinal cells. If this waste is not cleared efficiently, it triggers inflammation and accelerates degeneration. Proper blood flow is essential for removing these byproducts and delivering repair nutrients. Blueberries enhance this cleanup process. Anthocyanins increase mitochondrial efficiency, allowing retinal cells to produce energy with less oxidative damage. This reduces the buildup of harmful byproducts that would otherwise accumulate overnight. In simple terms, blueberries help your eye cells breathe more efficiently while they repair themselves. Then there is blood sugar. One of the most underestimated threats to eye health is elevated nighttime glucose. Even mild blood sugar spikes during sleep can damage retinal capillaries through a process called glycation, where sugar molecules bind to proteins and stiffen them permanently. This process weakens blood vessels, increases leakage, and disrupts oxygen delivery. It is a major driver of diabetic retinopathy, but it also affects people without diabetes. Blueberries help stabilize blood sugar overnight. Clinical studies show that blueberry consumption improves insulin sensitivity and reduces post-meal glucose spikes. When eaten before bed in a modest portion, blueberries provide antioxidants without overwhelming the system with sugar. This prevents nighttime glucose elevations that silently damage the retina while you sleep. Improved circulation and stable blood sugar create the perfect environment for eye recovery, but blueberries go even further. Anthocyanins have been shown to reduce retinal inflammation by suppressing inflammatory signaling pathways, such as NF-κB. Chronic inflammation stiffens blood vessels, disrupts oxygen delivery, and damages photoreceptor cells. At night, when the immune system shifts into repair mode, reducing inflammation allows healing processes to dominate instead of degeneration. There is also the optic nerve to consider. The optic nerve is essentially brain tissue, and it relies heavily on steady blood flow. Reduced circulation during sleep has been linked to glaucoma progression and optic nerve vulnerability. Research suggests that anthocyanin-rich diets improve blood flow not only to the retina, but also to neural tissue connected to vision. This may help protect the signal transmission between the eyes and the brain while you sleep. Timing is critical. Eating blueberries earlier in the day provides benefits, but consuming them in the evening aligns their peak antioxidant activity with the body's nighttime repair cycle. Plasma levels of anthocyanin metabolites remain elevated for hours after consumption, meaning they are actively working while you sleep. This synchronization is what makes nighttime intake uniquely powerful. Melatonin also plays a role. Melatonin is not just a sleep hormone, it is a potent antioxidant produced in the retina itself. At night, melatonin helps protect photoreceptor cells from oxidative stress. Anthocyanins work alongside melatonin, enhancing its protective effects and reducing the oxidative burden on eye tissue. This synergy only occurs during nighttime physiology. The result is cumulative protection. Studies show that people who regularly consume anthocyanin-rich foods demonstrate improved retinal blood flow, reduced markers of oxidative stress, and better visual function over time. These changes do not happen overnight, but they compound quietly night after night, preserving vision long before symptoms appear. And this is the most important part. Vision loss is rarely sudden. It is the result of thousands of nights where circulation was slightly impaired, inflammation slightly elevated, and repair slightly incomplete. Blueberries intervene at every one of these points. A small bowl before sleep becomes a signal to your body to protect one of its most fragile systems. Not with drugs, not with invasive treatments, but with a natural compound your eyes recognize and use efficiently. By the time most people notice visual decline, the damage has already been accumulating for years. But research shows that improving circulation, reducing inflammation, and stabilizing blood sugar at night can slow this trajectory significantly. When you eat blueberries before bed, you are not following a trend. You are supporting a biological process that determines how well your eyes survive aging itself. Night after night, circulation improves, repair becomes more efficient, damage slows, and your vision gets a fighting chance to last. Most people believe that protecting vision requires drastic action, expensive supplements, complicated routines, medical interventions only after damage appears. But the science tells a very different story, and it may be the most uncomfortable truth of all. Vision is rarely lost because of one catastrophic event. It is lost because of small daily neglect, repeated quietly over years. And the reverse is also true. Small, consistent habits can protect eyesight far more powerfully than dramatic short-term fixes. Research in nutritional ophthalmology shows that the eyes respond not to massive doses taken occasionally, but to steady exposure to protective compounds over time. Retinal cells are long-lived. They do not regenerate easily. What they need is constant defense. This is where blueberries reveal their true power. Studies consistently show that regular, moderate intake of anthocyanin-rich foods leads to cumulative protection of retinal tissue. Not dramatic overnight changes, but measurable improvements in oxidative resistance, capillary integrity, and visual performance over months and years. This matters because the retina is under assault every single day. Light exposure alone creates oxidative damage equivalent to aging stress. Add screens, inflammation, and metabolic strain, and the damage compounds relentlessly. Here's the shocking part. The human retina is exposed to more oxidative stress per gram of tissue than almost any organ in the body, and yet most people provide it with antioxidants only sporadically, if at all. This creates a constant deficit. Blueberries, when consumed consistently in small amounts, help close that gap. Clinical studies show that even half a cup of blueberries delivers a meaningful dose of anthocyanins capable of altering oxidative markers in the blood. These compounds accumulate in tissues over time. They do not need to overwhelm the system. They need to be present regularly. This is why consistency matters more than quantity. One of the most important long-term benefits is the preservation of retinal microvasculature. Over time, tiny blood vessels feeding the eyes become fragile, narrow, and prone to leakage. This process is accelerated by aging, high blood sugar, and inflammation. Research shows that long-term anthocyanin intake strengthens capillary walls and reduces permeability. This means fewer microbleeds, better oxygen delivery, and slower progression toward diseases like macular degeneration. Another critical factor is visual fatigue. Modern life forces the eyes to work unnaturally hard. Constant near focus, artificial light, and reduced blinking strain the visual system daily. Over time, this leads to chronic dryness, eye strain, and reduced visual clarity. Studies show that consistent intake of blueberry compounds improves ocular blood flow and reduces symptoms of visual fatigue, particularly in people exposed to screens for long hours. This is not a temporary boost. It is a structural benefit that builds gradually. There is also the issue of night vision decline. Night vision does not suddenly disappear. It weakens slowly as rhodopsin regeneration becomes less efficient. Research shows that anthocyanins improve the speed and quality of dark adaptation when consumed regularly. This means fewer years struggling with glare, headlights, and dim environments. The benefit compounds quietly night after night. Consistency also protects against inflammation, one of the most underestimated threats to vision. Low-grade inflammation damages photoreceptor cells over time. Unlike acute inflammation, you don't feel it, you don't see it, but it steadily accelerates retinal aging. Long-term studies show that people who consume polyphenol-rich fruits like blueberries have lower inflammatory markers associated with eye disease. This protective effect strengthens with duration, not intensity. And then there is blood sugar. Chronic mild blood sugar elevation is one of the fastest ways to age the eyes. Glycation stiffens proteins in the lens and retina, reducing flexibility and transparency. This process does not require diabetes. It only requires years of unstable glucose. Regular blueberry consumption has been shown to improve insulin sensitivity and reduce glycation stress. Over time, this means slower lens aging and healthier retinal tissue. What makes this approach so powerful is its sustainability. A small bowl of blueberries does not shock the system. It does not require discipline that fades. It fits naturally into daily life. And because it is sustainable, it becomes effective. The eyes benefit not from intensity, but from reliability. Research comparing dietary patterns shows that people who protect their vision longest are not those who do everything perfectly for short periods. They are the ones who maintain simple protective habits for decades. Blueberries fit into this pattern perfectly. There's also a neurological dimension. The retina is an extension of the brain. Neurodegeneration and vision loss often progress together. Long-term intake of anthocyanins has been linked to improved cognitive blood flow and reduced neural inflammation. This suggests that consistent blueberry consumption may protect not just the eyes, but the visual processing centers of the brain itself. The most sobering fact is this: most eye diseases are diagnosed after damage has already occurred. By the time symptoms are obvious, structural changes are often permanent. Prevention is the only strategy that works reliably, and prevention is built on habits that feel too small to matter. Half a cup, a few nights a week, over years, this is how vision is preserved. Blueberries do not promise miracles. They offer something far more valuable: slow resistance against time. Each serving adds another layer of defense. Each night reduces the burden placed on fragile retinal cells. Each week compounds protection. Vision loss is not dramatic, it is gradual, and so is vision protection. When you choose consistency over intensity, when you nourish your eyes regularly instead of reactively, you change the trajectory of aging itself, not loudly, not instantly, but permanently. And that is how something small becomes powerful enough to protect one of your most precious senses for the rest of your life.